This is how I play the game! Oh my god! What the fuck?
Holy shit! That is an epic fucking intro, dude.
And I have to warn everyone. Warning. What you may see right now is going to be absolutely disgusting.
Sound good?
Alright, that's... sounds good to me.
So finally, it's time for our Christmas dinner, alright? Now, we've been anticipating this for like weeks. I've been talking about it on the streams. This year we were going to do something different. A Christmas roast. I called it the roast beast. What it is roast beef, a big roast beef roast. You cook in the oven. Now, Kat had looked up various recipes. She found one that she thought would be good. It was a recipe that was medieval style. What it is you use common seasonings to basically dry rub your roast beef, okay? Then you create your own kind of a broth from beef stock, red wine, and other ingredients. The roast beef has to be braised, then it has to be slow cooked, okay, in the oven, and then when it's slow cooked, then you take the sauce out, and you create like a gravy out of the sauce that cooked with it to eat the meat with. So this sounds great, right? I mean, oh my god. So it's got all kinds of ingredients. It's got cinnamon, it's got nutmeg, it's got clove, it's got some garlic salt. The sauce itself was made from like beef stock and, like I said, some red wine. But what's funny is we're making it and we're like, so what does the ingredient say? The ingredient says 1 to 2 cups of red wine. I said, 1 to 2 cups? You know how much wine that is? If you do that, the whole thing will just taste like wine. So instead of that, we did about half a cup of red wine. We didn't want to go crazy. Everything else, pretty much in line with the recipe and everything. So, braising, I never really braised a thing of beef before. You know, having to put it in a frying pan, and basically you cook every side of it. So that's browned on the outside, but then it's going to slow cook on the inside in the oven. So braised it, you know, had dry rubbed it, everything good to go. Goes in the oven for how long? The recipe says 90 minutes, okay? Goes in the oven for 90 minutes. Now, in the meantime, we also have a side we're doing. We're going to do roasted potatoes, little miniature red potatoes that you cut in half, or we cut them into quarters, and you season this with olive oil, rosemary, thyme, parsley, and other things. There's a lot of seasonings you toss on this, okay? And you roast them in the oven for about a half an hour. So we had this timed that the roast beef would come out, and the potatoes would go in, and we would have some time to create the sauce and everything from the juices of the meat, so everything would be ready to go. And then as soon as the potatoes come out, we cut up the slice of the meat, have sauce, everything good to go. And we actually have corn too, but that was just we tossed in the microwave. It was frozen corn. And on top of all of that, my wife's like, why don't we just make the corned beef hash? I was like, from breakfast? She's like, yeah, we didn't do it. Might as well just make it anyway. We're not going to eat it another day. All right, fine. We'll make the corned beef hash. And she had the idea. She's like, well, if you're going to have corn, why don't we just mix the corn into the corned beef hash? That would be yummy. I was like, actually, that probably would be pretty good. All right, we'll do that. So she made that. We had the red potatoes roasting and everything. So everything comes out. All right, it's good to go. It's dinner time. Let's do it. So, stick a fork in it, start cutting up the roast beef, okay? Now, immediately I noticed something as I'm cutting up the roast beef. It seems overcooked.
Wow.
It is what it is, I guess. Alright.
And it's not my fault.
And what I mean by that is when you roast something, yes, it cooks it through, but this was not like, oh, it's kind of maybe mildly pink or whatever. It was like, this shit is like brown. Like, it's cooked way too much. And this is 90 minutes, by the way. The recipe said this recipe is effective anywhere from 90 minutes to 2 hours of cooking in the oven. We went with 90 minutes, okay? So, we cut it up, and already I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is reminding me of when my mom used to make roast. Now, when my mom used to make London broil, when I was a kid, it would look like this. And honestly, the meat would taste bland, but she would make it with a broth or sauce that was salty and had a lot of seasoning in it. So what you would do is take the London broil and dip it in the broth or sauce, eat it, and then it would actually taste good because you get all the flavors from the sauce. So I'm thinking, all right, sadly, this is a little disappointing that this happened. But the whole point is that we were making this sauce from the broth and the juices of the meat, and the sauce is supposed to be what you dip it in to taste good. So maybe it's not a loss. Maybe it'll be fine. Maybe this is how it was supposed to come out, okay? So I'm cutting it. Each of us get like 3 big slices of this roast beef. The sauce, we each get a side of sauce. We put it down. All right, so we sit down and eat. First of all, you take a potato. The potatoes are good. They're crispy on the outside. They're warm and cooked on the inside. All of those, you know, you get the olive oil and all those seasonings. amazing. Exactly how we wanted them, exactly how we intended. The potatoes are perfect. Corned beef hash, I mean, duh, it's corned beef with actual fresh sweet corn mixed in. That was absolutely delicious. Of course, it was silly and not having anything to really do with the dinner we had planned, but it was good. So then we go to have the roast beef. Cut the first piece, go to taste the first piece without any sauce. Bland. Completely bland. No flavor whatsoever to the meat. Completely overcooked. And all the seasoning that we had rubbed on the outside of it is flavorless. Nutmeg, cinnamon, clove, and other things that we put on it, you can't taste any of it. I'm like, what was the point of rubbing it in it then? Right? The recipe claimed that it was supposed to have zero flavor. So why'd we bother? Okay?
This is gonna be the whole stream.
Alright, let's try the sauce. So you take the beef, you dip it in the sauce, you take Oh! The sauce was fucking nasty. And we went exactly per the recipe we had found online. Basically, the sauce was bitter as shit. It was like, why would you make meat and then try to put it in a bitter-ass sauce? If the meat doesn't have flavor, you want flavor, not bitter. It was so bitter. And again, the wine, we used half a cup of wine. The recipe called for 1 to 2 cups of wine. And we used half a cup of wine. So imagine we had used the whole 1 to 2 cups, how fucking bitter and alcoholic and acidic that would have tasted. You know what I'm saying? So we're like, wait a minute. The beef's way overcooked, dry, no flavor. The sauce is terrible. How the fuck do we eat this?
I blew it. You blew it!
We even tried it with steak sauce. We pulled A1 steak sauce out of the fridge and tried to eat it. That shit was inedible. It was completely inedible. The meat was a waste. And by the way, this was no cheap thing. This was a roast. An actual expensive roast that I bought from the grocery store for this. It was completely ruined. The recipe was absolutely wrong. Alright? The recipe claimed that the rub was flavorful. The rub was completely flavorless. You couldn't taste it at all. The recipe claimed that the sauce would be good. The sauce was absolutely disgusting. And the recipe claimed that 90 minutes would leave it nice and juicy on the inside. It completely overcooked it. So this recipe was one of the worst recipes we had ever tried ever in the history of us making anything together.
Oh my god, he's drinking gin. Yes.
So, pretty disappointed, to say the least. So we're sitting there, we're hungry. We're like, so what are we gonna do? Just eat a bunch of potatoes? Right? And so, we're like, I guess we have to have a contingency plan. What do we do? And so we're like, well, shit. We're hungry. What do we do? We don't have any extra dinner food sitting. We're not going to make a whole second dinner after cooking. When we had been cooking, this is no exaggeration. That was 3 hours of work to sit down and have one of the absolute worst dinners we've ever made. 3 hours. All these dishes had to be washed afterwards and shit. And we're like, wow, what a waste of a fucking time for a terrible fucking recipe. So we're like, well, what can you get? Well, guess what? Almost everything's closed on Christmas Day. The night before, I had been to the Chinese restaurant that we traditionally go to every year for Christmas Eve. And I had noticed, and I swear it was weird, but I never would have noticed this either, but for some odd reason, on the door, it said, when I was going in to pick up our food, we are actually open on Christmas Day. Okay? Now, I don't know, I guess it was fate, because any other time I never would have thought that they would have been open, you know what I mean? But I turned to Kate and said, wait a minute, I just remember something. The Chinese place said they're open today. And she's like, well, we love the Chinese food there. Okay, we got Chinese food 2 days in a row.
It's amazing.
We had a great day. There were no gifts. We did not exchange gifts because the truth of the matter is, we don't really need or want anything. I mean, it would have been nice to have like a frivolous gift. You know what I mean? Like, if Kat got me something, I got her something that we don't really need, but here's something nice. But, you know, that's money that could be put towards other more important things that we'd much rather have. You know?
That guy needs to be kicked in the freaking balls. He's an asshole.
What's hilarious is that I'm just being open and honest with all of you. There's actually people being toxic to me in the chat. Can you believe that shit? There's actually morons who are being toxic to me. Insulting me in the chat right now. Wow. Wow. You really are in the spirit of life, aren't you? Like, really, some people just don't even know what life is about. Forget what Christmas is about. Some people don't even know what life is about, right? I talked to you guys honestly about what we did and what I feel about is important about Christmas. Let's insult Phil now. Like, what the fuck is wrong with people? See, think about how miserable you have to be. You have to kind of feel sorry for those people. You know? They probably had one of the worst Christmases. If they're going to act like that. Either that or they're just really fucking spoiled brats. Can you imagine you had a great Christmas, everything went well for you, and the next day you come on someone's stream and you're a toxic shithead to them because they're telling you about their Christmas? Wow. Wow, you're a really pathetic person. Anyway, I'm going to play Skyrim at my own pace. I'm going to enjoy it at my own pace. I'm going to like all the content, and we're going to have a great chill time together. I feel the entire time we play Skyrim, it will be a great chill time. Okay? There's people in the comments of the part 1 of the playthrough from the Christmas Marathon. Oh, Phil's playing the easiest RPG ever for casuals. Oh, you don't need to know anything about RPG mechanics. You can mash buttons and win. Oh, it's so boring. I don't want to see him play.
Oh, Phil actually is a really toxic person, so we're just gonna keep saying, why am I toxic? Because it's a meme.
Later tonight, the late stream is my weekly late night throwback session of Street Fighter. Now, a couple things. First of all, this is usually on Friday nights. This week, Friday night was Christmas Eve. Obviously, I couldn't play it then. I wasn't here yesterday for Christmas. I don't want to not do it because I like Street Fighter, so we're doing it tonight, 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It will be on the PlayStation 5 this time. Son Robin did a $2 super chat, says, let's cheer up Phil and donate. That is not what this is about at all.
Like, literally, you're a liar?
In any way, shape, or form. Although support for the channel obviously would help me and put me in a good mood. I mean, that's common sense. It's not about, oh, Phil had a bad dinner at Christmas and now, so let's contribute. That's ridiculous. You want to contribute because you like the content, you like that I'm back from break, and you're ready to have a chill and fun time with me today, and you want to support that effort. Do it for the right reasons, okay?
There's still this back here. And it's still in the back of my neck, the back of my head, the back of my mind, and it's always telling me it's WWE Champions time. I love it. I love it. Is a mobile game addict. Phil has indoctrinated children who send him money, blatantly milking for money. It's a money pit. It's gone, just gone like that. In an instant, fucking gone. I just care about money. I just can't help it. I eBay. Contributions are mandatory, but I need your help. I am appealing directly to you. No decency, no respect, no common sense, no fucking maturity. Is the guy who just doesn't get reality.